David Hempton, Dean of Harvard Divinity School, founded Religions and the Practice of Peace in 2014 to advance cross-disciplinary engagement, scholarship, and practice at Harvard University and beyond to explore how people around the world have drawn on religious and spiritual resources to cultivate well-being, justice, and peace across differences, and how such efforts can inform contemporary conflict transformation, peace-building, and leadership. In the RPP Colloquium course, graduate students from across Harvard University of diverse religious and cultural backgrounds interact with scholars, practitioners, and religious peace builders as members of the RPP Working Group and the monthly public RPP Colloquium series. They strive to develop as ethical leaders for a highly religious and complex world who are equipped to engage spiritual resources and religious communities to advance sustainable peace. Here are a few of the students who will share their experiences in the course.
I'm a Loeb Fellow at the Graduate School of Design here at Harvard. I'm from New York State. My spiritual tradition is Islam. My mother was Shia, my father was Sunni. So I grew up with both of those traditions, and actually what I feel mostly affiliated or aligned with is Sufism. I was drawn to this course for a couple of reasons. I mean, one has to do with my personal interests in spiritual growth, and then the other is, in a way, my professional interests in humanitarian work. I've worked for international aid organizations responding to disasters and conflicts for 8 years.
I am a MTS candidate from Harvard's Divinity School. I am from Illinois, originally in Chicagoland area, and my faith tradition is in between Judaism and Christianity. I think that from my background at a small liberal arts school in Wisconsin, I wasn't used to a wide range of diversity. So it was very interesting to come into this course and seeing its offering to really kind of broaden my scope of understanding of people from multiple religious traditions and how we interact with the topic of peace and religion.
I'm from Malaysia, and I'm currently a first-year Master's in Public Policy student at the Harvard Kennedy School. And I was born Catholic, and I practice the Catholic faith. I previously worked in the Ministry of Education, where I worked on a program to inculcate unity among teachers and students in school, and part of that was looking at religious harmony and how different religious groups interact with each other. So I was naturally very drawn towards this course, and also trying to understand, some of the conflicts that happen in the world and how it's very deeply related to religion.
I'm at the Harvard Divinity School. I'm from South Carolina, and I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I've been very intrigued with the role of religion and political history and international dialogues, and I saw this course as a really unique opportunity to look at international politics, look at international religions, but through this specific heart-to-heart, one religion to another lens.
I was born in Bangladesh. I grew up in Sri Lanka. Here at Harvard Divinity School, I am a candidate for the Master of Theological Studies program. And I am a Buddhist monk. Before coming to Harvard Divinity School, I was engaging with young people in Sri Lanka, in post-conflict Sri Lanka. And I was part of several youth movements, and I even interned for an international NGO, and I had the opportunity to work in former war zones in Sri Lanka.
Well, it's a little bit of a tradition in my family to go into the military, and in fact, I still have family members who are very dear to me who are in the military and have spent a lot of time in harm's way, as well as a lot of my friends that I've made. When I was in the military myself, the issues with that seemed worth dealing with in a more realistic way, I think. And I wanted to deal with them, learn how to deal with them, so.
My name is Barbara. I'm at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm a Muslim. Well, as an educator, I think it's really important for people to get to know each other on all different levels and to gain understanding about what's important to them, what parts of their identity they feel maybe are being overlooked. And unfortunately, we don't actually talk a lot about religion in the education program. And so this was a really important opportunity for me to be able to put that front and center.
I am Valeria Macias. I am from Mexico. I am doing a master's in medical science and global health at the medical school. And I was born and raised and practiced Catholicism. When I got the opportunity to come here to Boston and to start my master's degree at the medical school, I was very excited to know about the Harvard Divinity School. So I just searched into all the different courses that they had, and this one in particular really attracted my attention because of the involvement that it could really have, or the impact it could have in my actual work back in global health. So learning about conflict resolution, what role does religion play in conflict and in peace practice, I thought it would be something very important to learn about and to put it in practice.
For me and for a lot of the people I know, our religious and spiritual experiences are the organizing factors in the way that we walk through the world.
Many of us are always searching for meaning and trying to make sense of this world, and 80% of the people in this world align with a faith and find meaning in faith.
How do we engage people who are in conflict zones and have religious perspectives? How can we engage them in conversation? And how are they themselves engaged in peacemaking and peace building?
I think in our world today, we hear a lot about religious conflict, and I think it's definitely true that religions are in many places intertwined with conflict and implicated in conflict. But I think religions also have a lot of resources that are being used in ways to solve conflict. And I think a lot of those things are going on, and ordinary Americans and ordinary people maybe aren't hearing about those. And so I think by studying them, by bringing them to light, I think it really helps to, both for sort of policymakers and academics and others, just to realize that religion can be a source for building peace around the world is very important.
There's so much more out there, and I think it's so hard to get outside of the kinds of political structures that we've come of age in, we've become habituated to. That having these ancient traditions and newer traditions as well, that have alternatives, that don't take for granted the same things, that's when we actually have some really fertile material to work with.
The peace practice or peace building involves everyone. Everyone in a community is involved. So it's not something that only politicians are working on or only NGOs are working on. Religious communities are involved and can make a huge impact, but not only religious communities, everyone.
Religion is especially important as a vehicle for sustainable peace because that's where people live. They live their religion. Religion is not separable from everyday life. This is a bit of a modern misconception that we have. You can't separate religion from politics on any level. You can't separate religion from your education. You can't separate religion from how you vote. You can't separate religion from what you eat. So obviously religion permeates all of that, and religion already has all of these practices and inroads to peace, not within the community and between communities.
I think bringing people together from different faiths and, not just different faiths, but different disciplines in trying to make the world a better place, it's really crucial in a way that, in the broader society, every single student represents a part of a broader society, and that's reality out there, and we really need to be able to give voice to all the different parts of our communities, or at least have someone represent those voices in discussions about peace or in discussions about how can we live better together as a community. And, it's a good starting place for us to start replicating that in the outside world.
And religions have, over the millennia, developed and perfected the processes by which hearts are turned. And turning hearts, that's what peace is. Peace is a word, but turning a heart is an action.
This course really addresses various different avenues. So it's a working group, it's a class, it's a lecture series, it's a space for people to come and really have like a town hall type of discussion. And it was all of those in one.
I think that some of the most striking aspects of the course are really having this one-on-one discussion within the classroom, both individual classmates and during our sessions of interacting with fellow members of the RPP working group as a larger group, so the faculty, staff, professionals in the area. It really kind of broadened our ideas.
The most meaningful part of this course for me was when Pastor James and Imam Mushafa came and did not only spoke to us, but held a workshop for us so we could learn about their intervention methods in conflict. Their workshop was really wonderful. We did a simulation of what they usually do when they're entering a conflict situation. We separated into two groups and they went through some of their techniques. And it was really inspiring to see the framework that they've created and how effective it was even within our simulation. And now I have a better idea of the sort of tools that exist that people have created for doing this sort of conflict resolution work.
When the imam and the pastor came in, I thought that was something remarkable. I don't think if we didn't have that day of just interacting with what a peace builder has to go through, and just hearing them not only telling us in a methodological type of way what to do, but also just tuning into the little subtleties of who they are and how they operate. Was the most beautiful thing. There's something that I truly believe in, which is, in a cliche type of way, we're all heart surgeons attempting to open the hearts of other people, and you don't really see that done until you really interact with people who are doing this as a career.
I think as I'm getting to the end now of my whole MDiv, my whole 3 years here, this colloquium has been one of the most important experiences. I think I am taking from this different ways of teaching, different ways of engaging, different ways of setting up conversations that I have not experienced elsewhere. Some of the work and reading that we did on trauma has really dovetailed with some of the work that I've been trying to do with the immigrant populations that I've been sort of working with and hope to do more work with. And I think I've changed what I do as a minister to young people as a result of the frame of intergenerational trauma, of international migration, and the effects of deep displacement and the spirituality of displacement. So I think being able to incorporate those concepts into some of the plans that I'm making as I go forward, that's moving me in new directions.
And often, contemporary discourse, religions or political parties or other division, other identities often divide us. And I really enjoyed seeing how different religions connect. And for me, I've been looking at Islam and Buddhism and the many connections between them. So I think that was a great sort of learning, I guess, a further learning from this course, that just the connections between different religions.
How I interact with others has definitely dramatically changed, especially from people of other faith traditions, other cultural identities, because I had really never been exposed to much before. Growing up in a white suburban area, I wasn't wasn't diversified in my views or having opinions or knowing people from other faith traditions. So it's been really interesting to go into conversation with people who are coming from a broad approach and broad background. I think in my just general conversations with them, I'm much more mindful of how their lives have changed, how their lives have been formulated around their religious and spiritual traditions, and how that relates to conversations of peace, and taking into perspective what others' roles have been in the field of peace in general.
Let's say Buddhism and climate change. And for me particularly, my interest was on big corporations. And I have been thinking about that, like saying big corporations are the problems in the world. But I wanted to understand big corporations without just blaming them. And creating that kind of conversation there, I think that was really meaningful to me.
There are many aspects of this course that have been beneficial to me, both personally and in thinking about my future career in humanitarian work. It's been really fascinating to see the many different ways that people go about religious peace building, how it's studied as a field, from looking at peace building at the grassroots level with individual religious actors in a community to looking at religious leaders working on really big projects and devising entire frameworks for understanding religious peace building. It's an inspiring field. I think from now on, I will always be thinking when I'm studying a conflict or when I'm studying a social problem, I'll always be thinking about how religious leaders and religious people and communities are involved, and how they could be more involved. I know it's had a huge impact on me, on friends in the Colloquium, and also a lot of my friends in the Harvard community and greater Boston community who I've invited to the lectures. This has had a transformational impact on our community here and led to some fascinating discussions and really, really deep conversations about the subjects.
This course has given me more breadth to my understanding of how people practice peace all over the world. So I feel that this course has just kind of let me open up the cover of a rich book that I'm looking forward to engaging with from now on.
The course has helped me prepare to become a peace practitioner better, first by being able to understand all the different practices that are around me in the religious aspect. There has been a lot of different people that have come to talk to us and have their own set of important issues we need to think about every time there's a conflict. Like they talk to us about how to handle emotional things when there's a conflict, or how to handle dignity when there's a conflict and the importance of dignity. Being here has helped me to have all these techniques and expertise on the subject to be able to deal with all the biosocial aspects of health.
Peace can be used in every avenue of life and in every career path. For me personally, going into preservation work, I have to deal with stakeholders from every form of government officials, local citizens, different businesses, and a load of others. And that is something that I would have to use my skills that I've gained in this class because there's such a broad view of how things work and how things should be. And I think in my line of work, having idea of how to negotiate, make people talk in a way that's most respectful for everyone, in a way that's really going to utilize these peace practices we've learned, is going to be revolutionary in my field.
How do I incorporate the values that are very important to me, the spiritual and religious value? How do I take that and put it into the work that I do? and what are the kind of considerations I need to take into account when we're thinking about, an overall policy for diversity or for unity for the entire country. So things like, thinking about different religious considerations, trying to think about different perspectives to help inform decision making.
If I continue to do humanitarian work in the field, like I mentioned, 80% of the world abides or identifies with some religion. I have new insights and new learning from many different religions from this course that I can apply, and I hope to apply as a way to connect with people and maybe help them see the connections. And actually, I think next month or in June, I'm planning on going back to Myanmar to coordinate a relief program. And as you may know, in Myanmar, there's conflicts between Buddhists and Muslims, and often they see their religions as very different, but it would be great to help them see the similarities between the religions.
I will be drawing on some of the ideas I've been thinking about in this course in my immediate future, because I'm working this summer on a research internship project where I'm looking at a very vulnerable population and their access to social services. And in beginning to devise my research question and how I want to go about this project, I was reflecting on this course, and I realized that engaging with some of the religious leaders that represent this community, I can get hopefully a very interesting perspective about about the issues that their community faces and what they see as the biggest necessities. So I'm looking forward to engaging with religious leaders first as I begin this research.
The ways in which the course has contributed to my work as a peace builder, I think, is one of the things that's really important to me, because I'm going into ministry, is how to negotiate conflict within religious institutions themselves, within a church, just between people in churches, which, not surprisingly happens all the time. And for me, it was really interesting to learn different techniques of peace building. And I think as someone who's going into ministry, that will be an invaluable skill wherever I go, even if it's just on the congregational level or intercongregational level. I think it'll be very useful.
The context within which I'd like to work is youth, high school youth, with middle schoolers too. That's what I've been doing for a while in terms of doing trainings on leadership development, teaching about what it means to be a person targeted by religious discrimination and things like that, and how to confront that. So I've just been offered a position at a church to work as a director of youth programs for them, and to lend an interfaith perspective to the programs. So I think this course will benefit me in that I can translate the information, the theories, the insight, and share it with youth and have them engage it at a younger age.
So I definitely think I'll be drawing on the resources I learned in this course in my academic work. I think it's influenced how I think about conflict, how I think about peace building in the past. I hope also to use it in my own religious community. I hope to use it in trying to build bridges in contemporary America and to sort of, I think, move my own religious community towards a place of building peace in the United States.
I think my experience in the RPP Colloquium course has prepared me to serve as a peace practitioner in the field of education in a variety of ways, but mainly recognizing and feeling comfortable drawing on sources from an array of disciplines is going to be something like crucial for curriculum building that encompasses like the wide range of resources available for peacemaking.
I wholeheartedly recommend anyone to take this course. It's been such a great experience for me. to be able to engage with the speakers who have come throughout the course, who have all been exceptional and spoken on a wide range of topics, to the experiences I've had in the classroom, meeting with students from a lot of different Harvard graduate schools with a lot of different life experiences and academic interests, to my personal reflections throughout the course. It's been transformative for me, and it's really helped me have the space in my life to consider some of these really important questions in a way that's quite different from how I do intellectually and academically in my other courses.
The one thing I would say to somebody considering taking this course is to just take it. Take it. Just take it, learn, understand it. Even if you don't think you'll do anything with the information later, it's still important to understand that all of those people and all of those other religions and people you will never meet still have the same concerns you do, which is living in a world that isn't immediately threatening to your life.
I would highly recommend them taking this course. Even if you don't necessarily think you're going into peace work in the future as the field of peace work, this class and the lessons you learn from it can be applied to almost anything. Peace you have to deal with on a local level in your job, making peace with coworkers, making peace with employees, making peace in the setting of if you are in another country, and really doing peace work on the ground level.
Take the course. There's no reason why you shouldn't. But I think specifically for people who are maybe a little bit unaware about what is happening at the divinity school, or why is religion being incorporated into the study, specifically speaking to my background in international relations, that this is a key component that has continued to govern our lives, that will continue to govern other people's lives. And it's essential to understand it, not to box it off and put it away as something that's really unapproachable. And the only way to do it is to wade yourself into the deep end of the pool. And so if you're nervous about religion being a broad topic or something unaware or something you haven't been acquainted with, I say just do it. Because this has been my first year just doing it, and I think it's been remarkably, completely beneficial in ways in which I know now, and in ways in which I hope that I will continue to find out later on.
Take it. If you take this course, you will grow enormously. You will learn a lot about yourself. You will understand the world. You will understand people. And you will have a lot of people to be grateful for in your life.
Just having people that are actually doing this in the real world and sharing them with us, I think gives us a lot of hope of knowing that we can do this.